Welcome to the Midlife Leap, a lifestyle talk show for women in midlife, sharing tips and interviews on topics ranging from business, career, current news, fashion, shopping, health, travel, and so much more. Please subscribe to this channel so you'll receive alerts of new episodes. And like this video so that other midlife women just like you will be alerted by YouTube to check out the Midlife Leap show. Ladies, are you seeking grant money to expand the purpose of your nonprofit? Well, AARP has business grant money for ages 50 and older. The AARP Purpose Prize Award is a national award in the United States that celebrates people 50 and older who are using their life experience to make a difference. Through the Purpose Prize Award, AARP celebrates the creativity, innovation, and inspiration that life experience brings. Now, to qualify, you must be 50 and older, founder or co-founder of your organization, and the organization must be a 501c3 or 501c4 nonprofit organization located in the United States. Now, tax status must be in good standing, and you should have begun the work that you do at the age of 40 or older. Now, you have plenty of time to apply because applications are open until February 28, 2023, but it closes at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So get your applications in and expand your purpose. Do you act in ways that sabotage the things that matter most to you, such as your relationships, your work, or your health? Is there a critical voice inside your head that causes you to experience self-doubt, self-hatred? You know, that not good enough-itis? Well, Junie Moon is here to offer some tips for you. Junie is a women's empowerment leader, a certified shadow coach, and love coach. Through her work, she has supported thousands of women over the past 30 years to claim what is their birthright. That's the right to freedom, the freedom to be, and to love themselves without apology. She's also an international best-selling author of Loving the Whole Package, Shed the Shame and Live Life Out Loud. She's an international award-winning speaker and host of the successful Midlife Love Out Loud podcast. Thank you, Junie, so much. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure. I just love what you're up to, and I'm so happy to have some time with you.
Thank you. So, my biggest question is self-sabotage and that critical voice, is that a carryover for midlife women from their younger years, or is it something that develops by midlife?
Yes. Yes. And it is. It's a yes and. So, yes, I see it as we are born with this part inside of us that is working for us to make sure we don't get hurt, that wants to be the radar for pain, radar for danger, and one of the greatest ways to hold us back from taking a chance where we can get hurt is our inner critic and those thoughts. And so we're born with that old brain that's going, the saber-toothed tiger, so we're born with that. And we also have experiences in our life throughout our life. And so when we get to midlife, oh my God, we've had decades of experiences where we've had our heart crushed, we've been criticized, we've been abused, we've had so many different things happen where that part that's like, I better be careful, is now really working hard. So yeah, we sabotage because on some level, if we take certain chances, it seems really risky. And that's how we hold ourselves back. And again, it's good because we don't want to get hurt. It just overshoots, and that's where it really hurts us in another way.
So self-sabotage is sort of a self-protection.
Yes, and that's not to double dip into that, but yes, and so it is, it's just sometimes we're overdoing it. And that's where, like, if we're saying self-sabotage, we're saying we're doing something that's hurting us. We're sabotaging something that's important to us. We're getting in our own way. So let's just say I'll give you an example. I had a woman come to me who wanted so much. She was, I think, in her early 60s, late 50s, early 60s. She so wanted to have a relationship. She had been single for a few years. She wanted to put herself out there, but she kept sabotaging the whole process. She wouldn't show up for dates. She wouldn't follow through with some of the messaging. She found herself overeating. So one would say, wow, she's really sabotaging it. If she really wants love, why would she do that? So by looking at what her track record was, the last time she was in a relationship, she had her heart broken. The man cheated on her. And so we had to look at why was she getting in her own way. So on one hand, that part of her was like, oh no, honey, please don't take this chance. Let's just make you feel like shit. Let's just make you feel so inadequate, that not good enough itis. And this way you won't take a chance and get your heart, hurt again. So for us, right? Okay, let's sabotage this so we don't get hurt. However, she so wanted to have a healthy relationship and connect with someone. So we pulled back the layers, realized, this is obvious. She doesn't want to get hurt again. And then we gave her some inner tools so that she could feel more confident and strong and grounded so that she could make better choices and not pull the rug out from underneath her. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, so it's sort of a double-edged sword. If she does nothing or continues to self-sabotage, then she's going to definitely stay by herself, stay lonely. But then at the same time, she's protecting herself from taking that risk, because that way she's not getting hurt.
Yeah.
How do you push past that? It's better to take a risk and go for what you want than to not do anything at all, to do what you've been doing.
That's a great question. So in this body of work that I call shadow work, that I'm trained in, we have these parts. And there's this part that we're talking about right now, which is the risk manager. There's this part inside of us that's assessing danger all the time. And so when I work with people, that's where we start. And I literally talk to that part. And I go, okay, risk manager, so-and-so wants this, but I see you don't want it to happen because the last time it got her, she got hurt. Got it. But if you don't let her open up her heart, if you don't let her go and find somebody new, she's going to have a different pain. She's going to feel like she's missing out on the juicy part of life. And so to answer your question, we need to update the risk manager. We need to get that risk manager to see she's not going to just jump off a cliff with the first person, that she's going to have different tools inside of her and make better choices more consciously. Because at the end of the day, we've got a lot of unconscious programming that has us repeating patterns. I mean, I see that all the time with my clients. Oh my God, he seems so different. He looked so different. His name was different. But then I ended up in the same patterns. He was the same person. and so we repeat these patterns because we haven't healed some of the wiring, this programming that we've experienced through decades, and a lot of it happened in childhood. So to answer your question, we need that risk manager who's kind of between a rock and a hard place. If I let her go, she might get hurt. If I don't let her go, she might get hurt. And let that risk manager see there's a sweet spot, and that we could be more mindful and conscious and give her those tools to be able to trust her gut, to be able to see more clearly. I mean, that's what I do, is help people really do the healing work so they come to the table in a very different way and not just repeat the same patterns. That's what the risk manager is concerned about. And so if we can get the risk manager to see, if you do what you're doing, there's going to be a cost, but let's see if we could do something different.
Okay. So shadow work. So shadow work is the voice, and you name the voice according to their task?
Good question. So shadow work is actually a body of work trademarked by Cliff Barry, Mary Ellen Wallen. It's been around since, I think, the early 80s. And so it's based on the concept of the shadow, a Jungian term of the part that we've disowned, a part of us that we shame or think is bad or ugly, or I better not be like that. And so the body of work called shadow work helps us reclaim all of the parts of who we are. That's why my book is called Loving the Whole Package. Shed the shame and live life out loud. When we could love all of who we are, shadow and light, and not see anything that's bad inside of us, because there's nothing bad inside of us. we just have been shamed or we think that there's something bad. But bottom line is we've just been trained to act in a way that isn't in our highest and best sometimes. And so when we can, again, update the risk manager, and part of shadow work with what you were saying is there's parts. There's these different parts. And when we can get all the different parts inside of us working better together, like a board of directors, then we have more conscious choice. We can feel safer and really live out loud without apology.
So at what point does someone realize that she's actually sabotaging herself? How do you know if you're getting in your own way?
Usually there's just a lot of pain. Usually it's like, you wake up and you're like, I don't want to get out of bed. Or at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I really thought I was going to eat better today, and I ate that gallon of ice cream. Basically, we start to notice we're not being the way we want to be. We're not feeling the way we want to feel. We're not acting in the way we want to act. And so if we've all done it. I still do it. I just catch myself a lot faster, where it's like, oh, I really thought I was going to do this. And, oh, it's interesting how I ended up going in that direction instead of going in that direction. Oh, I've committed to be online and reach out to 10 new potential men on an app. Oh, what happened? I was going to do that yesterday, but I ended up watching Netflix. So when we're not in integrity with what we want, and we're not getting or experiencing the life that we so desire, that's sabotage. We're getting in our own way, and that's when we beat ourselves up and we feel like crap and we're not enjoying our life. So yeah, if we're not living on purpose, and what I mean by living on purpose, being true to ourselves, feeling authentic, and following through in a way that feels good, there's a shadow lurking that needs to be healed.
Okay. You said when we're not in integrity with ourselves?
Yes. So integrity being, this is important to me. This is what I value, and I'm not doing it. So my word, I believe strongly in honesty. So if I'm not being honest with myself or with someone else, I'm out of integrity. If I say, yes, I'm going to meet somebody for dinner and I don't show up, I'm out of integrity. Each of our integrity has to do with what we see as value, our values. So if we're wanting something and it's important to us and we're doing anything but that, on some level, we're not being true to ourselves, out of integrity.
I love that application, because I think that integrity and values, we generally apply that outside ourselves, within our community, our relationships, but I don't think most of us think of it regarding ourselves.
We're not taught to think about ourselves. We are, and that's what's so great about midlife. We've had the first 40 plus years figuring out how to fit into the world, how to be loved, how to not disappoint, how to check the boxes and be accepted, feel accepted by our culture and people in our life. But something happens when we start to get into the midlife years where it's like, this isn't working. I'm thinking about everybody else. I'm giving all my energy to other people. So when I work with people, that's one of the greatest things. One of the exercises I do is a values assessment, where it's not about them, what we think we should be like, but what is it that's most important? Oh, I love spirituality. I value connecting to the universe. Oh, I love adventure. I value that. So we need to look at what is most important to us. And again, we're not necessarily supported by our culture to think about us, oh, you're going to be selfish. Men are pretty good at that. I have to be honest with you. Men are much better at, what do I want? Not to throw men under the bus, but you know what? That's a good quality. What do we want? Women have been taught, and we are that kind of way as well, to be the nurturers, the givers, and think of other people first. So it's our friggin' time. Midlife, what do I want? And why am I not getting it? Oh, I have a shadow. Oh, I'm getting in my own way. Why is that? Let's do the healing.
It's like an awakening to yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, I have a new website that's going to be birthed really soon. And I have this whole section called midlife crisis or midlife opportunity. And then I talk about it's an awakening. It's a, okay, I did all the things I was supposed to do. Why does my life feel so small? Why am I walking on eggshells? Why am I not able to just spread my wings without fear of criticism?
And I think that it's great that, we've done everything we were supposed to do, but now it's like it's a new phase or new transition where this is your time. This is your time for a new awakening, because we know ourselves a lot better. And even if you don't, because there's changes, like this is the time to discover that and to do those other things that you really want to do.
Absolutely. And again, that's why I love working with women over 40, because we're hungry for what we haven't had. And we've mostly been, are mostly done with the kids. Yeah. They're either almost out of the house or they're out of the house. I mean, maybe they're still parenting. Maybe we're still building businesses. I mean, it doesn't matter. But the bottom line is it's like, I really want the next 40, 50 years to be delicious. Why is it not delicious? What do I need to add? What do I need to shift? What do I need to release? How can I honor this precious stage of life that I know so much more now, so much wisdom. It's amazing. The thing is, the shadows are getting in the way of the wisdom. So we need to clean it off so that we can really own that true self, the light that is in each and every one of us.
And do you find, because I find with my clients that a lot of midlife women tend to diminish their abilities. They're not really thinking about, well, you raise kids, you birthed them, your kids are doing well, you took care of a home and you worked, you kept your husband, satisfied, you had family, like all of that, you were the support system of your family, whatever it is. I think they diminish those things, not realizing that it takes strength to do that. And really, with the road that you're walking on now, moving into their midlife awakening, is kind of minor to all that other stuff. This is actually a lot easier.
Absolutely. Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up. I mean, because at the end of the day, we're not honored in that way, the way I believe we should be honored, because being a mother is the hardest friggin' job on the planet. I remember having some challenges with my son. I remember where he was sitting. He was on the couch, and I looked at him and I just said, honey, he was like 14, 15. I said, honey, there are no books that can help me with what's going on here. This is hard stuff, being a parent and trying to do the best by you. And he's like, what do you mean? There are a million parenting books. And I was like, but there's not a parenting book for you. And he was like, yeah, that's true. And that's the thing. We have guidance, but at the end of the day, being a mother, taking care of a household, taking care of pets and elderly parents, it's a thing. We give a lot, and we're not acknowledged for that. This culture acknowledges money. This culture acknowledges success by what have you achieved. And our achievements as women sometimes are overlooked and often overlooked. And that's what's so great about what you're doing, what I'm doing, is we are shining the light on amazing women that are doing good in the world and letting others know that healing is possible and you can have an extraordinary second chapter.
Exactly. And speaking of men, if they were to try to do what we're doing or what we've done, because we do tend to make it look really easy, because I think we're just really good at juggling and managing several things at once. So they can definitely do it. So a potential client, midlife woman client, how would she reach you? And also, please tell the ladies, how can they find your podcast?
Absolutely. Well, let's do the podcast first. Well, let me just say, I'm Love Coach Junie Moon. So if you punch in Love Coach Junie Moon, Junie, you'll find me. And my website is coachjuniemoon.com. And that's where you can find a lot of content. And the same thing for my podcast. So if you punch in Love Coach Junie Moon podcast, you'll find it. But to be really honest, the name is Midlife Love Out Loud. And If you put that in for podcast, you'll find it. And what's really exciting is we just started our YouTube channel. We've had the audio for years, and we just started our YouTube channel, and we just had Dr. John Gray, the author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Yeah, so that was a really lovely opportunity to connect with him, among other amazing, talented, smart guests. So lots to take advantage of.
Awesome. Welcome to YouTube. I'm actually trying to do a podcast next. Like, just take the audio from this and do the podcast. So we're kind of flipping it. Now, how can you find your book?
That's on Amazon. Yeah. Loving the Whole Package is on Amazon.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Is there any other thing you want to share with the ladies before we go?
Actually, I do. There's something that's coming up. It's called the Love-a-thon, Magnetize Midlife Love. It's a 7-day virtual training. Depending on when people are watching this, it may or may not happen, but we always have a wait list for the next one. We do it a couple of times a year. But it's this amazing training for 7 days where we look at why we're holding ourselves back. Why do we have low self-esteem? Why are we not, taking the bull by the horns and really enjoying this stage of life? And it's focused on love. And mostly it's focused on finding your inner soulmate so you really can have an amazing love life in the second chapter. So that you could actually go to right now, which is coachjuniemoon.com/love-a-thon, love-a-thon, THON.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining us, Junie.
Oh, thank you. This was so amazing. You're an amazing interviewer. Thank you.
Thank you. See you next time.